I'm Dani, and this is Asher. We're two Kiwis who, after 5 years living in London, decided to head home the slow way. We bought a 36-foot sailing boat, Bacchus, built a little rowing and sailing dinghy, Piwakawaka, and headed towards the horizon. These are our adventures.
Those two peaks that we can see ahead of us are the famous pitons of St Lucia. Petit Piton and Gros Piton. And we're going to go and park right underneath them for our first stop in St Lucia, which is pretty exciting.
Pretty cool.
We've had a really nice sail over from St Vincent, which is disappearing into the clouds behind us. It's about 30 miles between the two islands. This is a new one for us. This is St Lucia. So you can see on St Lucia's flag they actually feature the pitons as that pointy black symbol on the flag, which is quite cool. So they're a real dominating feature of the St Lucian landscape. And as we approach these amazing mountains, I'm battling a lot of disappointment because I actually ordered a drone in New Zealand, and Dani's mum Kerry was going to bring it with her when she came over to visit us, and we're meeting her in St Lucia next week. And I was really excited to have this drone and really looking forward to flying it around this landscape, which is just so spectacular and so three-dimensional, so tall and steep. I think it would just look really cool from the air. And sadly, Noel Leeming has not been able to deliver my drone in time. I ordered it a month ago, but it hasn't showed up in New Zealand. So I'm not getting a drone, so I'm quite disappointed. Dani says that she's playing the world's smallest violin for me as I whinge to the camera about my drone problems. So immigration is done and dusted. We've got the stamps in our passports. Note to self for future bureaucracy dealings, put some shoes on and maybe a clean t-shirt, and maybe don't look like a complete hot mess when you come stumbling in off the street. The well-dressed woman who was serving me did not think very highly of my appearance, I don't think. But nevertheless, she took my money and stamped the pieces of paper. So we're in. And we've just picked up a mooring right underneath one of the pitons. So there's Petit Piton towering above us. And it's lovely and calm. We're out of the wind. We're going to get a nice sunset, I think. That's the view back over towards Soufriere. So we're very happy. We're in a new country, and the adventure continues. So really stoked. It's a pretty amazing view to wake up underneath. And it's a special day because it's Dani's 33rd birthday.
Yay! Happy birthday to me!
So I've just cracked open a nutmeg that we got in St Vincent. So there's the little husk on it, and that there is I think that might be the nut inside the meg.
Yeah, the nut's way bigger than I was expecting.
It smells fantastic. Really spicy.
What are you going to do with it?
Put it in a cake.
You're making a cake?
Making a banana cake. I don't think we keep the nut, I think we just keep the meg. You don't often bake with a hammer, but sometimes on boats.
Looking good.
Another harbour, another sail in little Piwakawaka. We're in St Lucia at the moment. This is Rodney Bay. And I've just put the rig in P just to come out for a sail and see what's happening. It's really lovely. We're behind, sort of sheltered from the trade winds by the island of St Lucia, so it's quite gentle. P's developed a couple of new creeks, which I'm a little interested in. Just around the mast and the front seat. Just around this area here. She's just making a bit more noise than she normally does, so I've got a little working bee planned soon where we're going to put a new coat of varnish on her and do a couple of other things, so I'll have a look then and see if we need to strengthen up.
in St Lucia today, exploring the island. Mum arrives flying in from New Zealand this afternoon, so we've hired a car and Ash is driving, and we're going to go and check out the island from the inside. Go check out the pitons and some of the beaches on the eastern side. So it's cool to be back on wheels and sort of covering bigger distances in one go. We are lucky enough to have a visitor for a week. My mum's come to join us in St Lucia, so we have brought her to one of our favourite spots, and we're going to go for a little snorkel one underneath Petit Piton. Here's my mum. Say hi, mum. Hi everybody. And Asha.
And Kerry has bought for me, after all of my whinging a little while ago about not being able to source a drone, Kerry has found a drone for me and brought it over from New Zealand. So we now can take aerial shots. So I'm going to try and film a bit of the snorkeling from the air. Flying north up the coast of St Lucia, we've got a bone between our teeth and we've got a lovely square rigged clipper coming down to leeward of us. Just beautiful. Oh, that's so cool.
Back in Rodney Bay, we anchored in the north, right next to the national park of Pigeon Island.
Just climbing up Pigeon Island, which is at the entrance to Rodney Bay in St Lucia. It's an old British naval fort from the 1800s. It's really cool. Great views. So that's Martinique to the north in front of me. We're going to be heading up there on Bacchus in the next few days, hopefully. Although the angle means that it'll be a bit of a bash into the weather, so it'll be a bumpy sail. We can see a handful of boats out there now making their way up, but they're all pretty heavily reefed, so working hard. See you later, guys.
See ya.
Here you are, you're moving. It's really hard work rowing into the wind in Little P. That little bluff bow of hers. It's hard yakka. Sometimes I just wish we had an outboard. Today's the day that we leave St Lucia. I've been hanging out here for almost a couple of weeks really. Dani's mum Kerry came and stayed with us for a bit, which was really lovely. But it's time for us to go and see another island. So we are heading north. We're going to Martinique, which is the next island in the chain, and hoping to catch up with some friends that we met in Tenerife, who we think are going to be there at the same time as us.
Back into the wind!
We're sailing upwind, we never sail upwind.
After a short and rather bumpy sail north, we arrived in the incredible island of Martinique. We planned to stay for 4 days, but with so much to explore, this turned into 2.5 weeks.
So we're in Martinique now, which is a new island for us, and all the islands have been different in their own little ways. But Martinique feels quite different because it's actually still part of France, properly part of France. French number plates on the cars. The country code's the same as France. They use the euro. They all speak French, of course. So it kind of feels like we're back in Europe, except the weather's a bit warmer. There are some things, though, that tell us that we're in the Caribbean, like the colour scheme on this resort. With colours like that, we couldn't be anywhere else but the Caribbean. So today we're just going to go for a bit of a walk and have a look around the island. We made it.
To the beach.
To Grand Anse des Salines. This is St Anne on Martinique, and it's just such a cute little village. We're anchored out the front, and we've been coming in here to find things like Wi-Fi and good coffee and pastries and baguettes and all those things that are wonderful that you can get in France. This guy might be the most macho politician I've ever seen. Imagine if we had politicians that look like this. How good is that moustache? It's fantastic.
So just a little bit stressful today. We've moved from St Anne and we're trying to get an anchorage up in Le Marin, but there are so many boats up here, there's very little spots and there's lots of reefs everywhere that we've got to avoid, and we've got 25 knots of wind, which is a bit of a pain to anchoring because there appears to be no shelter. So we're currently just doing laps with the anchorage, trying to find a spot that we might be able to comfortably anchor in. So in this very sheltered anchorage that we are going to leave, behind me there is a sunken yacht, so you can see the mast just poking out of the water there. Not a great omen, I don't think.
So, we have been umming and ahhing for a long time about what to do about our tender. We really love little Pea Waka Waka, but she's quite hard work to row when it's windy. And often the anchorages that we're in are really windy here in the tropics. It's often blowing 15-20 knots and sometimes we're anchored out the back. So we've bitten the bullet and we've decided to get an outboard, or at least try an outboard. Now, we take great pride in the fact that we don't have an outboard and we feel a slight sense of misguided superiority. So we're going down a slightly unconventional route. We're not getting a petrol outboard, we're going to test drive a little electric one by a company called Torqeedo. So they're German made, they're quite cool bits of kit, and there's a shop here in Martinique that's got one. So we're going to see if it fits, see if it works.
What do you reckon, Asher?
It's fantastic.
It looks pretty cool. It's pretty smooth and so quiet.
It's super cool. It's so quiet. It's just great. Oh. Perfect.
Nicely done.
Thank you so much.
So are we going to get it?
I think we're going to get it.
Hey!
I think we'll buy it.
So here we go.
Go.
With our new electric engine.
Shuffle over to this side a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go, that'd be better. Yeah. Just move back a little bit. Our tender's a little bit different from the average cruising boat, which usually has an inflatable. And I've always taken a sort of silly, slightly smug sense of superiority because of that, because we've got this pretty little wooden dinghy that we row. And I've lost a bit of that superiority now because I'm not rowing and I've got an outboard. It's not to say we won't row when we can, we will. But having the outboard definitely reduces my sense of superiority a little bit. But our outboard's pretty cool. It's electric, it's really quiet. Yeah, we can charge it off the solar panels, which is pretty cool. It's no petrol. Alright, we have the outboard. There it is. Let's get the hell out of here.
Let's get the hell out of here. This is a windy place. Let's go back to St Anne.
Yeah. See you later, Tula. That's Sailing Tula, our German friends.
What even is that?
I don't know what it is. Local Martinique sailing craft. Very interesting rig. It's like a giant canoe thing with like a big square rigged canoe. So I'm just putting together this little bracket which is going to sit on the back of P Waka Waka. I'm just stitching it together with some timber and some leather, and it's basically going to slot over the back of the transom of the dinghy, and then the outboard can clamp onto it, and it will just give a bit of reinforcing to the back of the boat, and it will protect the paintwork and the varnish from the outboard's clamps.
Join us on our next episode where we put to work our new electric outboard. Ashley gets a mad cool haircut, and we join some other cruising friends to explore the jungles of Martinique. If you're enjoying our channel and feel like supporting us, click on the link to find out how you can get early access on Patreon.